And all new at 5:30, officially out. The appeal by a former Cheektowaga Town councilman to stay on the board is denied. We'll tell you what his lawyer says went wrong in court. Plus, a disturbing murder case in Alabama. We'll tell you what ties this family has to Western New York and why the sheriff there says this case proves the state needs more funding for mental health. And better access to health care. We'll show you the new facility that Jericho Road is offering to those living on Buffalo's east side. Our top story tonight at 5:30, the political process to fill James Rogowski's town council seat is moving ahead while Rogowski's lawyers appeal a Supreme Court decision that kicked him off the board. Now, that ruling issued Tuesday said Rogowski vacated his seat when he pleaded guilty to a charge of attempted criminal contempt. But Rogowski's lawyers say that decision is wrong. News 4's Marissa Perlman tells us how they're trying to get Rogowski back on the board. Marissa?
Well, Jackie, Judge Mark Montour ordered Jim Rogowski to vacate his public office seat on Tuesday, but Rogowski's lawyers immediately filed a stay, which puts that judgment on hold. But around 3:45 this afternoon, another judge denied that stay, which means the town of Cheektowaga can now freely move forward with filling Rogowski's town board seat. Now, according to police this month, Rogowski pleaded guilty to attempted criminal contempt. He was involved in a domestic road rage incident with his wife in West Seneca this past February. Judge Montour decided since Rogowski was convicted of a misdemeanor, he violated his oath of office to support the state constitution. But Rogowski's legal team says this case was rushed. That's because of a political agenda playing out in state Supreme Court. They hoped to suspend this case.
The politics determined the rush job. So that's not how a lawsuit should be handled. It's, you know, the law is not fast. I don't think we want the law to be fast. They started at the end. They knew what they wanted. They wanted to get rid of Mr. Rogowski, who was an outspoken, independent voice on the council. They wanted somebody who was a part of their faction, who would cooperate with them. And then they worked backwards and they created a legal argument that led to that conclusion.
Now, Rogowski's legal team tells us he could pursue an appeal with the Attorney General's office, but they will advise him not to do so. Jeremy Zellner with the Erie County Democratic Committee tells us they've picked Executive Director of the Seneca Babcock Community Association, Brian Pilarski, as their nominee to fill Rogowski's seat. Marissa Perlman, News 4.
Well, there has been a major move in the Catholic Church because of the ongoing sex abuse scandal. Cardinal Dolan has hired an independent reviewer to look at how the church handles accusations of sexual abuse. He appointed former federal judge Barbara Jones today. Cardinal Dolan, who oversees the Buffalo Diocese, says he's ordered the review because Catholics in New York State have demanded accountability, transparency, and action from church leadership.
My job now will be to evaluate the effectiveness of the existing programs and policies in that infrastructure and identify deficiencies and recommend changes or wholly new policies and procedures.
This appointment comes after New York's Attorney General announced that she is undertaking a comprehensive investigation of how the church and its leaders handled abuse allegations across the state. Well, police in the state of Alabama are investigating a gruesome murder involving a family originally from Albion, New York. The Jamestown County, Limestone County Sheriff's Office in Alabama says a 15-year-old girl is accused of stabbing her mother and 19-year-old sister to death inside their home. Deputies say when they arrived on the scene, the 15-year-old girl was trying to kill herself, but she was stopped.
We need to have more facilities for dealing with mentally ill. We need to have, no more funding for mental health in Alabama. This is a horrific crime. I mean, whether you're 15 years old or 50 years old.
The sheriff says the 15-year-old girl is being treated for her injuries but doesn't expect her to be in the hospital much longer. The investigation is ongoing and the teenager could face charges of capital murder. Now, coincidentally today, Up in our area, a new children's mental health clinic opened in Niagara Falls. New Directions Youth and Family Services will run the clinic that will provide mental health counseling and services for children and families living in Erie and Niagara counties. CEO Jim Coder says this facility will help make these services more accessible to families in our area.
Obviously, being in the city allows us to really make it more convenient for some of the kids and some of the families that need the services. So that's why we chose this site in particular.
Coder hopes that the services provided by the clinic will help turn local children into healthy adults. Refugees, immigrants, and low-income residents on Buffalo's east side now have a new choice when it comes to health care. Jericho Road cut the ribbon on its newest medical suite this morning. And News 4's Katie Alexander takes us inside.